What's up you guys, Josh here today, back again today with a brand new YouTube video. So today we're talking to you guys about this, which is the console wars. So as you guys know, I'm not a huge massive fan over the console wars. I have a PlayStation 5, I have an Xbox Series S right now, and I currently also have an Xbox One S, which you can kind of see behind me. I've been a huge massive fan of video games ever since the 90s when I started playing them back with the Sega Genesis, which was one of my friend's consoles. Played things like Mortal Kombat and a bunch of other video games on that system. And then I eventually got myself an SNES along with the N64, and those were pretty much my big video game systems back in the day when I was a child. And over the years I've got a PlayStation 2, my family's had the Wii, I've had the Xbox 360, which is actually my brother's system, but I played a lot of the Xbox 360 online with my friends because of the fact that my brother would let me use it. And I also got a PlayStation 3, which is basically my system. Then I had the PS4 and the PS5, so I'm accustomed to kind of dealing with issues with different systems and the console generations that have come before. And one of the new phenomena that's kind of happened within recent memory is the fact of the console wars, where basically the big giant corporations like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo will basically pit each other against each other in a battle royale style similar to that of Fortnite, and they'll try and determine which system is actually the best. And while it does breed competition, while it does make these companies come out and defend their system, their new box, the games that are on that platform, one of the things that really drives me nuts is the fact that we'll actually take this seriously, because console exclusives, which the Xbox really is lacking in this generation, really does matter. It really does sell systems, and PlayStation has been doing really well with the PlayStation 5 and the exclusive games that have been on the platform. I've actually bought more PlayStation and Nintendo Switch games this generation and this time around than I have with the Xbox, which is a shame, because if the Xbox actually had some exclusive titles and games that I actually wanted to play and games that I hadn't already bought before, I probably picked them up because I'm a huge fan of video games and I play every system and every game console. And that's what I think I don't get, is why you have to side with one system or one company over the other, and you have to defend that company even to the very death and say that that company's better than the other, because I think there's value to both systems. I think there's value to all of the systems that are out there, whether that's Microsoft, Nintendo, or Sony. I think that choosing one system over the other is kind of foolish, because you're missing out on exclusive games that you might have enjoyed otherwise had you had just picked up the console itself and played it and tried out something like Gears of War, Halo on the Xbox, or tried out something like Killzone, Infamous, Resistance on PlayStation side, or even God of War and God of War Ragnarok, which are two of my favorite games. And now, since Bethesda was bought by Microsoft, the ability to kind of play multiple different titles, multiple different systems, and kind of have access to those games is what really excites me as a gamer, as someone who plays a video game, who loves video games, who's loved video games basically my entire life. I've said video games a lot already in this whole entire video. I want to make a point that it doesn't really matter which system you get, so long as you get a system one that all your friends are using. A lot of my friends use the PlayStation 5, so that's the main console that I use. And then I have the Nintendo Switch, which is another system a lot of people I know have. And then after that, I kind of got an Xbox Series S because I want to play games like Gears of War and Halo, which are my top two favorite video games on that franchise. Whereas my PlayStation 5 is mostly used for console exclusives, and I have a lot of console exclusives on the PlayStation, which is basically my main system choice. So I think that for you, that might be different. You might either use a Nintendo or an Xbox, and I think that's completely okay. I don't think that you should determine your base value on what others say about their exclusives or their systems. I think that you should be making your own opinion. I think that you should be making your own opinion and actually determining for yourself whether or not you want to play those video games, or if you want to buy the system in the PlayStation 5 or the Nintendo Switch, just based on what games you like playing. And I think that people should stop worrying about which system is more powerful, because at the end of the day, I'll play video games from the 90s to even the 2000s, and the time period that I actually grew up, because those games, while they don't have the graphical fidelity of the modern day gen systems, they're still really great stories, and a lot of them have really well written stories to the point where they're a lot better than stuff that's even coming out nowadays. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't like the whole console war thing, because you're missing out on stuff that you otherwise would have bought and paid for had you just picked up another system. And I think that in this day and age, having at least two systems, maybe not having all of them like I do, just because of the fact that I'm a YouTuber and I like to cover multiple different console generations, I like covered multiple different consoles, and I also like to play different games just because of the fact that I like their games on those systems. I think everybody's a little bit different. Some people might not have time for every system, so I think that you kind of have to gauge what the main system that you want to buy is, what all your friends are playing, what everybody else is talking about, whether that's the PlayStation, the Xbox, or the Switch. I think they all have their pros and cons about them, their unique quality about them. So I think that no matter which system you pay for, which is buying, there's games for you on those systems, and some of those games might be third-party games, they might be first-party games, whereas the company kind of makes exclusive software to basically run it. And so I think for you kind of have to gauge what system you want to buy, and I think that's mostly the more important part about this. And I think the console wars kind of takes away from that fact of the video games themselves over the storytelling in them, because if you don't have good games, if you don't have good exclusives, you're not going to sell these systems. And I think the Xbox is basically learning that the hard way this generation. They thought they could kind of coast on by with Gears of War and Halo, and even Halo Infinite, while they're slowly bringing back content that should have been in the game at launch. It's not to the point where it should have been when the game released, and it was trying to kind of be that system seller that the Xbox should have had. And I think that while I like the campaign for Halo Infinite, while I've seen it on both heroic and legendary, I haven't had any reason to return to the multiplayer portion. That's kind of sad, because in this day and age, you should have really great multiplayer. In the Bungie era days, Halo, you had great multiplayer, you had a great single player campaign to it as well. And they kept adding to the game game to make it better. And I think that's what the current generation of consoles needs. A lot of these systems are now focusing on live service games, which I really don't like, and maybe that'll be a different topic for another time. But I think you just kind of have to figure out which games you like playing, which system your friends have, and basically go about buying sort of that console that you're going to be playing for basically a while till the next generation of systems come out. So like I said before, I hate the console wars. I think they need to stop because it doesn't really do the video game industry any good other than free competition. That's about the only thing that comes from it. You get a lot of these people standing for one console over the other. You get one of these people that will basically go to bat for these companies that really don't give a shit about you anyway. They see you as dollar signs, as a means to an end to get more video game sales as well as hardware sales. I just don't think that's worth fighting people over on the internet for. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this whole topic of Microsoft losing the Xbox, and I guess you could say console wars this generation, which I really don't even like that term to begin with. Do you guys like console wars? Do you think it's helpful? Do you think it's something that gauges whether or not you're going to buy a system or the other? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think, and as always guys, rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.